Jahan Dotson, uh, 16th pick, a little too rich for my blood. PFF had him 56 overall. He's not an outside receiver. He's a he's a he's a small guy. He's not an outside guy. He's 5'11, 178. He's got some good highlights, but he's a slot guy, and he's kind of weak. He's not very strong after the catch. I don't see him as being able to play on the outside. When he did play on the outside, he couldn't stack the corners. He struggled a little bit off of press or when people got their hands on him. He's older. He's 22. He didn't have a breakout season to his junior year, so that tells you the trajectory. Maybe he's topped out. I just think that's a bad pick at that point. And I think there are several receivers that went after him, including Watson, that are much just better players. And so this one was really a head scratcher. Not that Dotson can't be valuable, but you got to look at what also was available. So I think that's a head scratcher. That's, to me, that's a C or a D pick there. Let's see what Mel had to say. Mel said Dotson is a smooth and explosive target who should get both slot and outside snaps in Washington. Offense coordinator Scott Turner loves to use 11 personnel, so Dotson's positional flex will help confuse defenses. We'll see. I just don't think. Now, Greg Cosell is kind of high on him, so maybe he's better than I think. Second pick, Mathis, Phidarian Mathis out of Alabama. What is it with the football team and drafting players from Alabama? Now, this might be definitely for the defensive line, probably the weakest player that they have drafted. Nothing really special about him. He has the Alabama pedigree, so you know he's going to come to play. And he's violent and he's strong, but he's not really anything explosive that's going to be a pass rusher. He may be able to fill some gaps, but nothing special. Seems to be taken a little bit early. 78.5 PFF grade. Let's see. He was taken 94th overall, and PFF had him 50, rated 50 slots lower than that. So, like, it looks like a reach. They already have a lot at that position. Maybe you can say he's best available, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's very head scratching. I know the Commander fans were telling me that Rivera was going to bring this new era of credibility, but I just don't see it. And I don't think Ron Rivera is the kind of guy that should be running your team. PFF had this pick as below average. They drafted Brian Robinson Jr. Seems like they have 1,000 running backs, so they got another one. Robinson was ranked 146th on PFF's big board. He's different. He could be something different. He's physical. He's not like Gibson in that way. He's very physical. He could be a short yardage back, but I don't know. I don't see where he's going to be a difference maker. And maybe at that point in the draft, I mean, you can find people that are going to contribute and start in the third round, but that's not what they found. They went for Percy Butler out of Louisiana. He was the second defensive pick that they drafted. I mean, not bad. 92 yards in coverage, 1 touchdown in 2021. Had a 78.6 grade. And he didn't play with urgency. And so sometimes that can be problematic when you're going to the next level, but he's somebody that may be able to develop into there, but I just don't see it. I do think Steele right here could be Sam Howell. A lot of people are down on him, and I just don't see what they see. I see a guy that didn't have any projection, that fought, kicking and screaming to try to win every game. Over the last 25 years, Lamar Jackson had 3 games of 300 yards passing and 100 yards rushing, and Sam Howell had 2. I'm not saying I think Sam Howell is going to be the greatest player ever, but I do think he could be a solid starter. And I think at least this year, certainly next year, he's going to take the job from Wentz. Now, what he does once he gets the job, I can't tell you. But so we have Cole Turner, not much of a receiving threat. Chris Paul, y'all know how I feel about the puny god, but it's not a bad pick where he is if you're talking about a 7th-round pick and you got a guy that might be a rotational guard. And then at the end of the draft, Christian Holmes, he could be a good special teamer. He's got a good athletic profile. He transferred from Missouri. He's got a 79.4 coverage grade. So, it's not. So overall, if I was looking at the Commanders draft, Mel says it's a B-. I would go with a C. I'm not impressed with it. I'm just not impressed with it. It's not a lot. It's not biased here. If you're mad at me about teams, I don't care about that kind of thing when I'm giving my analysis, but I'm not impressed. I'm really not impressed with the go, and I don't think they've really made their team better by any significant margin. Speaking of not making your team better, the Dallas Cowboys. Let me start out with Tyler Smith. I